trust this message finds you well. This is a message that we want to quickly get out to our membership to provide you with some real-time, fast-breaking developments that are been occurring throughout this week but are rapidly progressing just today. If you were not aware, on Monday, this past Monday, July the 12th, our Indianapolis City County Council finally voted on the mayor's proposal from over 40 days prior related to additional funding while we're in the middle of this public safety crisis. You'll recall that last month in June, we immediately held a press conference outlining our concerns, and you, our policing professionals, made clear that we are a city in crisis and voted unanimously as such. Subsequent to that, we received no communications from any Indy Council Democrat leaders related to the proposal or our recommendations of 4 solutions that we put forward. Those 4 solutions being the purchase and deployment of a gunshot detection system, the purchase and deployment of additional license plate reader technology, as well as public safety cameras combined with them. The third being the end of stopping low cash bonds for level 6 violent felonies, especially for repeat offenders. And the fourth being to fully staff an adult arrestee processing center, much like we had leading up to 2017 when it was ended by the Marion County courts. The purpose for that was to ensure firm, fair, and consistent treatment of arrestees, and specifically being able to separate out folks who were repeat violent offenders and ensure that they were not just automatically released. In the interim, during all that time, we had many elected officials that suggested that we were incorrect in our facts, that none of these things have been true, and as all of you know, we have been pressing this issue since September of 2019 when we held our first press conference on the issue. Fast forward to Monday night, July the 12th, a vote was held on the mayor's proposal, which was going to allocate $3.1 million to various organizations through the city, as well as some for technology to IMPD, but was void of the recommendations that we had made. I'm pleased to share that our Indianapolis Council Republican leadership made a motion to amend the proposal and include the 4 recommendations that not only we, but neighborhood associations, faith community, and business owners had all stood in agreement upon. Unfortunately, that night, the Indianapolis Council Democrat caucus voted unilaterally along party lines to reject those recommendations. And instead, the original proposal passed as originally structured, and those 4 items were rejected by the Indianapolis Council Dems. On Wednesday, just yesterday, Wednesday, July the 14th, the Public Safety Committee of the Indianapolis City County Council held their regularly scheduled meeting. However, we learned that they hastily called at the last minute various agency heads to speak to issues within the criminal justice system and process, apparently to void the points that we have made now for 2 years. Instead, surprisingly, what occurred is following a pointed question from our Indianapolis Republican councilor, Paul Anay, the Marion County prosecutor, under direct questioning, admitted that there is a process of automatic release for level 6 felonies and that there is no review of criminal histories prior to those releases occurring. In fact, he stated that he was frustrated that pending cases were not taken into consideration prior to release of these repeat violent offenders.
I would also like to know if you believe a magistrate at the processing center would be better than just the schedule itself.
I guess the easy answer is yes. A magistrate would be a welcome addition to. For those of you who don't know, in Marion County, when you are arrested on an offense, your bail is predetermined. And so if I'm arrested or you're arrested and we're charged with the same offense, our bail is going to be the same regardless of what our criminal history might be. And the reason the bail schedule is in place for that is, number one, for efficiency, but number two, to also make sure everybody's treated equally and fairly. The problem that I have with it is it does not consider if an individual has multiple pending cases. Because no one reviews it, your fate is already predetermined. Based
in addition, the Chief of Police, under direct questioning, acknowledged that the IMPD has been maintaining a database of repeat violent offenders who commit new alleged acts of violence after being released early on pretrial release or early post-conviction release with little or no consequences.
So I know as a former detective, when I would present a case to the prosecutor's office, if they filed charges, then I'm putting that in my report. If they decline to file charges, I'm putting that in a report. So that's easy enough to chart. Deputy Chief Barker is keeping track of those that have committed violent crimes after being released for whatever reason.
As a result, Indianapolis counselors, both on the Democrat side of the aisle and Republican side of the aisle, have began moving for that database to be published and reviewed so that any gaps in the criminal justice system can be identified. In addition, the Marion County prosecutor pledged his willingness to stand with Republican counselors to call upon the Marion County courts to change their way of doing business with the low bond issue and the bond matrices that are set within Marion County. Additionally, the head of the Agency for Community Corrections acknowledged on the record that they have over 2,000 offenders who are within their purview related to the GPS electronic monitoring system. After further questioning, he also acknowledged that the Marion County courts, effective January 1st of 2021, took control of nearly 1,700 more offenders under the GPS electronic monitoring system, which validated and affirmed all the stats that we have accumulated over the last 2 years that suggest that anywhere from 4,000 to 4,300 offenders are on GPS electronic monitoring at any point in time in Marion County. It is the highest number of offenders on GPS monitoring, on electronic monitoring, for any city in the United States of America. And that is true actual numbers, not based on population size or anything else. There is no other city in the nation that has as many offenders on this system. We as policing professionals know all too well the failures that are occurring with that and the tragic loss of life and critical injuries that people are experiencing by such offenders who reoffend, cut off their GPS monitors, or reoffend even with them on. Additionally, as a result of the prosecutor pointing to the Marion County bond matrices, it was also suggested that that is somehow set by the Indiana State Supreme Court. Just today, Thursday, July the 15th, 2021, we have reviewed public postings from local media outlets who have followed up and contacted the Indiana Supreme Court to confirm if that is in fact true. As of this afternoon, the Indiana Supreme Court has responded to these questions and have stated that these local bond matrices are not set by the state. They are set by the local judicial and criminal justice officials, and that any further questions should be directed to those local officials. In short, what does all this mean? It means that everything you as our policing professionals have been saying and pointing to as solutions have proven correct over the last 2 years. We plan to stay on top of this. We look forward to seeing these bipartisan calls for changes in the criminal justice system quickly so that we can save lives. Currently, Indianapolis is at 142 homicides within 195 days. We are on track to shatter the all-time historic record levels of homicide that was set last year in 2020, and we now have over 750 people who have been shot or stabbed in our community. As I continue to say publicly, it is our residents and our officers who are stuck in the middle of this violence, and we are dependent upon our elected officials to make changes for the benefit of the lives of everyone in our community. We will stay at this. We will continue to stand in the middle of the truth, and we will continue to call upon those who have the power to make the change to do so. If you should have any questions, please contact me directly. In the interim, please remain standing on that line in good faith and know that things are moving, and hopefully we can see some substantial changes for the benefit of everyone very soon. As always, I hope to see you at a roll call soon. Stay safe and keep looking up.